Before it used to be, it was a school team, British School of Brussels. There's guys in Scotland actually I played with before I even went there. They actually played with the British School of Brussels, small world. But so British School of Brussels used to be a club. So it was open. It was a school, but it was open to outsiders and play for the school. So they had huge number of parent helpers. You know, they had loads of teams, and it ran really well. But then one time, I think it was actually due to safety issues and security, that the school actually had to close and say, look, we can't have anyone from outside coming into the school. And there was a massive security around the school, etc. So they had to be quite serious about that. I think that was one of the main reasons. So they had to close the rugby down to outside and just make it as an in-school team. So it was a school team for players only going to the school. Now, it's an international school, so you've got players coming from all over different countries, and not all these countries play rugby. So that instantly reduced the numbers. We still had a team because obviously we had a huge population from England or from Britain. So we still had a team, but over the years it slowly died down. And now we've, and this isn't just our school, this is all international schools that we compete with. Some in England are actually doing all right, but we had to reduce it to 7. So it was only 7. Now we had a 7s tournament with tournaments against all international schools. So that's just due to numbers and teams not being able to get, schools not being able to get teams. So that is obviously purely because of that. The rugby's not happening, you know. So again, it's not tier 1 sport, and that's purely because of the numbers. And I think if they want to really improve that, then they have to start almost putting it into schools. Whereas in Scotland, I started playing rugby at the age, I went to primary school. We played a little bit of tag rugby, but we were never coached. So that's at the age of 11, I really started rugby, and that was at high school in Selkirk. And that was because in Scotland, in the borders, you're either doing football or you're either doing rugby, and the girls are playing hockey, you know, and that's the way it was. So I know guys that are diehard football players, but they started off at rugby, and it was just the sport of the school, and it's just the mentality. But that's in terms of increasing participation numbers, that's the way I think they need to do it, is to in school, you know, and open it up. But in Belgium it doesn't happen. It's sometimes unheard of in schools. So
whenever I talk to people about developing a sport, developing a minority sport, this issue of getting into the local schools comes up time and time again, no matter what the sport is.
Yeah.
If the kids know it and the kids enjoy it, then they'll play it.
Yeah.
But more than that, do they have somewhere to go to? And you can do like a taster session in a school or like a Cub Scout club or something like this. But then is there a local club that they can then go and participate with, or is there a school team that they can follow into?
In Scotland, they do that really well. Obviously, you've got clubs, you've got development officers within each club, and they do that really well. I remember we had guys come into the school and just, as you said, do taster sessions in primary school, and they do that really well, I think. And the club sport, their development officers, half their job is to go to schools, to give some taster sessions, to say, right, these are your opportunities outside school. You can come to this club and you play rugby all year round. Now, that's what we have to do in the British school, is now, from the age of under 14 upwards, I have to now say to the kids, look, we're doing rugby from November onwards, but it's only 7s. If you want to play rugby year round, you're going to have to go to these local clubs. One of them's actually, it's called Brussels Celtic, but she's actually a British team. So a lot of them are English speakers, so a lot of our kids go there. But yeah, so obviously the school is where the kids are going to be. So it's just given the opportunity to actually play. Another thing is sometimes the club's quite far away. If the school doesn't do it, the kid maybe wants to play rugby, but his parents work all the time. They can't go to training, you know. And I remember when I was a kid at primary school, we didn't go because we had other sports for a start. I played football as well. We did a bit of karate, me and my brothers. So we didn't go because my parents said, well, we're already taking you everywhere. There's 3 of us, you know. We're going to all these different sports. There's only so much they can do as well, you know. They've got jobs. So I think that's sometimes the reason as well, is the accessibility of, maybe there's a good infrastructure, but actually getting to the training and coming back from the training, sometimes parents work late and stuff, and that's, when you're a kid and you've not got a car, that's how you get there, that's your main means of transport. So that's another battle that you have to have.